All right, here is your review for Unit 1, Cycle 1 test for Algebra 1 this year. We're going to go through this pretty quickly as you went through it in class. Feel free to stop and rewind for anything that maybe you do not understand or that you need a little bit more help on. So we'll start at the beginning. Use the given data to answer the following questions. So this is the data we're talking about. Question number 1, what type of correlation is found from this scatter plot of data? Remember, correlation can be positive, negative, or none. And generally on a graph, we're looking for what direction the points tend to be going. So if I were to look, my points tend to be going in an upward movement. They're not really close together, so it's probably not strong positive, but it is positive. So we're going to write positive. And we're going to go ahead and write weak. Since we know those things, I know that it's weak because they're not super close together, making a really nice line. Does causation exist? Why or why not? In order to do that, I have to actually look at what we're talking about. So this is age, and this is hours spent reading. So the question is, does your age cause you to spend more or less hours reading? No, not really. Do the number of hours you read cause you to age? Well, not really. Age happens all by itself, right? Living causes you to age. So we would say that there is no causation. It's likely that the older you are, the more you read, but I don't know. It does not cause that to happen. So we would say no. Age does not, and we have to use the word cause, hours of reading, right? Your age does not cause you to read more or less, and hours obviously does not cause you to age. All right, is the data discrete or continuous? Why or why not? Remember that discrete means dots and continuous means a connected line. So what do we have here? Do we have dots or do we have a connected line? We have dots. So this is discrete because there are dots. Ta-da! And yes, you need discrete and you need the reason because it says be prepared to defend your opinion. So I can't just write discrete because then I haven't defended myself or I haven't explained myself. So make sure on your test that you use all your words and let us know what you're thinking. All right, the second part, use the data above to create a line of best fit. All right, and through that process, we are going to find all these things. So the very first thing we always do is we have to create a table. We were not given a table because we were given dots. So I had to make my own table. All right, X is on top, Y is on bottom. And I'm going to use these dots. So my first dot is at 2, 1. And then 5, 2. 6, 11, 10, 8, 14, 15, 16, 9. All right, guys, on your test, it's going to be super important that you have all these numbers perfectly. Double, triple check that this is really 2, 1, 5, 2. Because if you get even one number wrong, everything on here is now going to be wrong. Even if you did it correctly, because you started with wrong numbers, you will end with wrong answers. So be really, really, really careful as you make those tables. All right, if I want to find the y-intercept, the slope, the equation, the correlation coefficient, I'm going to do all of that in my calculator. So I really don't need my graph anymore. So I'm going to put it off screen. This is really what we need right now. We are going to use our calculator. Remember, we always start with home, so that's that one. New document, which is number 1, so I can either hit enter, like right here, or I can hit the number 1. Don't save. If your right button doesn't work very well, you can always use tab. Do not save. And we are going to add a calculator. So again, I can hit enter or I can hit 1. All right. This is what you have to memorize. Ready? Menu. Statistics. Stat calculations. Linear regression, mx plus b. Remember, linear regression means I'm trying to get a line. Okay, and I'm using lots of dots to help me get that line. That's what regression means. All right. I need braces. Control, close parentheses. So now I have my braces. I'm going to put all my x values and I'm going to space them out with commas. So 2, 5, 6, 10, 14, 16. So if you're watching this video and you are not practicing this, it's probably because you don't have one of these calculators at home. Wah, wah. Okay, so you want to definitely make sure you stop by your teacher for tutoring or a plus prior to the test if you need some extra help on this part. Arrow down, control close parentheses to get our braces. 1, 2, 11, 8, 15, 9. I always like to check. 2 and 1 go together, 5 and 2 go together, 6 and 11, 10 and 8, 14 and 15, 16 and 9. Okay? I had a student earlier today who left out one of those numbers, and it's going to throw your whole answer off. In fact, you're going to get a syntax error. Your calculator won't even let you process it. Okay, so be really careful before you ever go hit OK. You can hit OK or you can hit enter twice. Ta-da! All right, we need the y-intercept. So if you remember, which of these letters is the y-intercept? That's right, the letter B. Brought to you today by the letter B. Our slope is our m value. And for those of you who remember, our correlation coefficient is the r value. So now that we remember that, as we come to look, our b value is 1.3. Come on. 95. We are using 3 decimal places on our test, so you need to practice 3 decimal places as well. Our slope, 0.709. We probably could have rounded that up to 0.71. I would not have been upset if you did that because the second 9 rounds the first 9 up. That would have been okay. When we write our equation, y equals m x plus b. Okay, we got all that from our calculator. Correlation coefficient we are also going to get from our calculator. Okay, correlation coefficient is r. So ours is 0.723. 0.723. All right, so now we're all the way down to question number 8. What is the strength of this data? We have to answer this based on our correlation coefficient. Visibly, we thought it was weak, but we have to know for sure. So this is part of our notes that we learned, right? At the 0, anywhere from negative 0.29 to 0.29, no correlation. From 0.3 to 0.79 in the positive direction or 0.3 to 0.79 in the negative direction is considered weak. From 0.8 to 0.99 in the positive direction or 0.8 to 0.99 in the negative direction is considered strong. And if your R value happens to be a whole 1 or a whole negative 1, those are called perfect because those create perfect lines. So our correlation coefficient was 7.23. So it's not right here. It's It's not between 0.29 and positive 0.29, but it is right here. In fact, it's right here. It's almost at the end of week. So it's not too far from being positive and strong. It's positive and weak, but it's not too far away. So it's a good thing that we checked. So this is technically considered weak. All right. Predict the hours of reading for a 15-year-old. So let's go back. 15 years old. Is that an X value or a Y value? Age is an X value. So we're going to take that 15 and we're going to plug it in for X. So here's my equation. So I have Y equals 0.709, and I'm going to plug in a 15 right there because that's what it asked me for. If it asked me for a 50-year-old, I would have put a 50-year-old. If it asked me for a 30-year-old, I would have put 30. But it didn't. It asked me for 15 plus 1.395. Calculator. I can actually type this in on the screen. I could clear it all the way out if I wanted to, but it's unnecessary. We're not going to type the Y equals. So 0.709 parentheses 15 close parentheses plus 1.395. 12.03 hours. Okay, so about 12 hours. So 15-year-olds would read about 12 hours a week. I don't know. I don't know very many 15-year-olds that read that much. I read that much. Miss Tate reads that much. We'll see. All right, these next ones should go pretty quick. This is going up, so it is positive. My options are weak positive or strong positive. Remember, strong is if the lines are really, really close to the line, and weak is if they're kind of spread away from the line. So this would be strong positive. Though it's positive and they're really close together. 11 is negative. Now you're saying, well, how do I know if it's weak or positive? Well, let's compare it to the other one. If we have both of these negative ones, which is the weak one? This one is the weak one. Which means that this one is the strong one. Okay. This one is going up, and the dots are fairly spread out, so this would be a weak positive. Okay, back side. We're almost done. Discrete or continuous. Remember, discrete means dots. Continuous means line or a connected line. So if I look at these four, hey guys, that has dots on it. Discrete. That is a line. Continuous. That's a line. Continuous. Those are dots. Ba-dum-ba-dum. Easy points. Easy points right there. Okay. This last one. What function represents the arithmetic sequence shown in the graph? Don't worry about this. That is some vocab words that we are going to look at next unit. So don't worry, but basically we have a picture and we are trying to find an equation. The equation we most frequently use is this one. Okay. It's very close to these. So in the y position, they have f of n. That's okay. It's just a fancy way of writing y, right? Then they have a single number, right? That's our b value. And they have a number with a letter. So the number would be our n value. And our letter, we normally write x, but they chose the letter n. That's totally okay. So they wrote it like this. Are we allowed to do that? Absolutely. It's totally okay. So we want to find the slope and y-intercept on our graph so we can plug them in and get our equation. So how do we find slope? That's right. Rise over run. So if I'm going to start at this point, my rise is actually kind of a fall because I'm going down. So I went down 2, so that's a negative 2, and then over 1, right? If I did it again, down 2, over 1, down 2, over 1. It's a pretty good slope. So down means negative, so down 2 over 1. So this is going to be negative 2. So my slope is negative 2. Knowing my slope, I should be able to get rid of some of these options. My slope is in this position, right? So which of these could I go ahead and get rid of? Well, any of the ones that don't say -2. So let's get rid of +2 and +2. All right. So now I need to figure out, is my y-intercept 5 or 3? All right. So in order to do that, I need to figure out, where does it hit this line? This is the y-intercept, or the y-axis. I need to know where this pattern would land there. So I'm going to go backwards. So instead of go down 2 over 1, I'm going to go up 2, backwards 1. Oop, that didn't show up very well. Let's use a darker marker. Darker marker. So instead of going down 2 over 1, I went up 2 and backwards 1. You see how that lines up perfectly? So the question is, what y value is that? Well, it's at 5. So it's +5. So we would have y equals 5 minus 2x. We could have written it y equals -2x plus 5. There's lots of ways to write that answer. Okay, but the point is to find your slope and then to find your y-intercept, which we found was 5. Ta-da! That is your review. I hope I answered all your questions. Study hard, and we will see you after the weekend.